So I have a 5 rule, and before I dive into the 5, this is anybody that's listening, this is kind of your plan in place, your takeaway notes. This is what we do when we sit down with clients and we actually execute these 5 next steps. First, you need to define clear goals for what your incentive program is. So for example, if you're a company that is driven by sales, then you obviously want to be writing this incentive program based on generating higher revenues. If you are, which we have several of, manufacturing companies that are driven by, selling more trucks, selling more volume, then you obviously want to write this incentive plan based on increasing volume. The number 2 that I always tell clients is, based on your goals, create an incentive program that rewards behaviors, as Elaine was kind of talking about earlier, that benefit your business. So you kind of want to think about what method your employees use to meet goals and which are most successful, and also look at what's not successful that you're going to add into your incentive plan to drive higher results. If your company is heavy on teamwork, then you want to write that into your incentive plan. Maybe you're having challenges with one region working with another. This is a way to put this into this plan and drive results. The individual incentive encouraged employees to work individually, and you can have it in a tier process. But this really is a way to drive everybody in regions and internationally, because we are a global economy in a global world. This is a way to drive those results. Number 3, determine the types of incentive locations that you're going to put in your budget. I always tell clients, when you're writing your budgets per year, this needs to be a line item. A good way to ensure that an incentive is effective and financially feasible is to align this with your profits. So you usually want to be thinking about this 2 years in advance and making sure that year by year that this is in your budget. And the best success stories that I've experienced with incentives are companies that, for example, let's say in 2022, you're in Hawaii. You should be announcing the last night of that incentive trip where you're going in 2023. And we are, we're relevant with partners of Reimagine, et cetera, that we're relying on them to understand what we're trying to accomplish with this incentive. So we're finding the best locations. So number 4 really is, speaks to this fact, is that offer desirable incentive locations based on your culture. I always tell clients, make sure you're sending out a survey prior to launching your incentive plan, because the culture of a technology company and a manufacturing company are substantially different. And you could have attendees that you think are going to win that are 22 to 30. That location is going to be substantially different than your winners of 45 to 60. And you have to know what your culture is. And this is where the relationship and the panel that we have today and some of the people listening are so relevant, because we dive in and really try to understand the culture of the company that we're doing the incentive with, because you have to know what works for them and what they're trying to accomplish. So it might be a company that once after they complete their survey, they only want city hotels. It may be where they only want wellness and they're all vegans mostly. You have to know what the culture is to be able to execute the appropriate incentive plan and have it work. And number 5, this is really important, is being transparent and tracking your performances. We actually work with our clients in developing those metrics. But you got to be clear on the goals. You have to tell people what the expectations are, and then the criteria needs to be on a timeline. You need to be working with the people that are in the plan, of letting them know the start date is here, the end date is here, and this is what you need to do to accomplish to win this incredible incentive destination trip and experiences. And I want to just add one other dynamic with this, is that getting information from IRF is relative to being able to go into a client's office, and these days virtually having these experiences, and sharing exact data of locations that are great and that work and what trends are, because people want to be able to put in their surveys, this is the new trend, this is what we're seeing, so that you're creating people wanting to succeed and have this experience of going on this trip, as well as having partnerships with people like Elaine, of being able to say, hey, this is the culture of this client, can you give me some examples? Because we're experts at meeting expectations of destinations, and we get to go to a lot of them, but we rely on our partnerships with hoteliers and DMCs and IRF to provide, hey, you know, this client, this is new, they're trying to do this, can you give some examples of where this client could go? So that's our nuts and bolts on how we create to be able to launch an effective and successful event.